Mayam Bukrumzari to the English Impact News ni I Joyshree Usham na Impact News ki Impact Health Link for a Healthy Manipur program asida taram nokjari ngasi akhona puzari liba topic asi children's mental health hiram asida akopa world thambina ba akhoi gi studio da lengchin biriba expert na Dr. Jina Heigrujam, Psychiatrist, Postdoctoral Fellow in Child and Adolescent Psychiatry, Hauzigna District Hospital, Thoubal, Manipur State Health Service, Thabak Tobiri. Dr. Taram Nokchari.
Thank you so much for having me.
Doctor, akhona angang oiba matam se angang singje yamna awaba khangdaba yamna nungaina leiba admaina di akhona dum khanai adubu angang singi marakta zu hojiki mental health ki issue leibra duga aphaba mental health na kari wagedage duga issue rom da problem oina la kanda karamba common oiba angang singi mental health issue thingna bage krathambi. Okay.
So ahan bada mental health se akoina angang da yengak pakanda mental well-being haibaga mental health siga ko katang su difference le na mentally well-being oiba angang ama haibaze akoina not just physical well-being haibasiga mental well-being and social well-being si ki combinations in ba akoina to call anybody a healthy person hai se similar manner angang da sune so akoina angang da yengak pakanda first the physical da yenga akanda di mogi developmental milestone do correct time to reach for example crawling on time kind of neck holding sigo me am sine physical me am sine ba she me am se important ore koi mogi neurodevelopmental aspect of growth. Another thing is mogi emotional growth hai base angang sina angang khara emotionally intelligent yam oiba compared to another children mogi chahi same age cohort tadi oirega so khara angang amadi yam emotionally intelligent oiba angang am su lei ko adu high re na moi ne hene develop oi get di wana taba but emotional component of development so important oi and one very important aspect say social component se angang amana chahi kya yora kanda social smile toba adagi mogi magi peer age group ki peer ga sanaba group play gumba haiba haitaba haise sigi integration ahum se well developed oiba kanda ne ba akoina healthy oiba angang ana haidori se ko adula angang da su mental health issues leiba laitaba haise hojik hanadi mamang chahi kharagi matang dadi mental health disorders itself was such a taboo to talk about ko adu huji ki har gadi mi say compared to how it was before yam thina di changes la eko moise mental health ki matang da wari chananing ba open up towning ba andagi OPD the patients who hana ga yingna bada hujiti yam kaina koi gi senior sing na su dum hai bako sigi mathakta anga akoina dum adult sing na zu khana badum lai ko ki angang da su mental health disorders mental health issues se lai tabra haina but angang da su mental health issues se lai ada angang da su akoina common mental health disorders da adult akoina ying bakanda depression ko mayam dum Google da su dum panaramni and now there's so many people who talk about it openly on social media and on news and mental health da new common mental health ngasagi anxiety depression kind adult tauna base so minor children and adolescent moi da su tawda banate children and adolescent su common mental health disorders like neurodevelopmental disorders like and then emotional disorders. So when we talk about children mental health, it's a myriad of myriad of issues. If we pick on each and every one of them today,
depression ke anxieties da maroi na focus to se high targadi ahan sing na mogi sign and symptom moina manifesto boduga angang sing da thengna baga chamana bra aduga angang sing da na masigi laina layong je masikamain uba phangi
ahan gi depressive symptoms ka angang gi and especially angang hair kind of adolescent age group se ko pubertal age group moi siga di khatang khena badilai when we talk about age the haira agadi and gender the yenga akanda first ko nupam chaga nupim chaga pre pubertal chahi tarahum do gi mamangi da yenga akanda di depression gi ke haita rene masing se adum chawrak na manenge ba but pubertal age reached di adolescent age tadi nupam chaga nupim chaga yengna bakanda nupima chana has more as compared to boys adugi pona malai ko gender da khoina yeng akande. Another thing is pre-pubertal and then adolescent and adult ki the depressive symptoms se khara khena ba yawe mostly pre-pubertal and adolescent ta main oina ngasai gi khoina depressive depression disorder se depressive disorder da koina ICD-10 criteria DSM-5 kind am legreba to call somebody as having depressive disorder sigi criteria fit tawbado aduma su leireko but other than the criteria khatang differences leiba aise kaino haba kanda adults da koina interact toba kanda an adult who is suffering from depression moigi koina my thong da depressed oibagi kai haitare mai thong ama dum ubado and the moods and matam da depressed oiba koina moigi interact tawga du phanyam no harau hanna tawrasu nungai hanna ko I di not a doctor but family member and friends na ko la aga da unabada mayam wawa tawmina badasu adu da su mayam punba khot badasu he nungai thok he ngamdabado magi mood symptoms suna but this is very interesting because anganga adolescent di kamaina tawge habada hujiki small interaction short interactive period to with their peers or family member ko yam nungai na keno tawje moi the reactive effects se layeba moi the reactive effect in the sense ki nungai bangambado for that short period of time adugi difference to that is one of the major difference adult ka children de yeng na bakanda ko
do sigi my reactive sigi difference lebize masi aphabo gedra phatabo gedra habadi like is it good that they are showing this
the thing is akoina reactive effect to lairak pakandinina many a times parents tend to miss out many a times teacher tend to miss out many a times even doctors tend to miss out ki engatang interaction sidema keshu akoina joke ama crack tawbo kanda angang sinanga noklak pa kholak pa tawrdi akoina ema dum no izina ngatang gi adum rapport yam phajana dum build tawri aiga react tawri so we might miss out on that ko adu miss out on that haiba wani but not necessarily that hai tarine adu iduna miss out tawni haibagi not that everyone will but chances to aduna oeba and other than that adugi duna reactive oibagi mogi effect uma laire on top of that moi irritability se am lai angang da diko adolescent ka adult ka yingna bakanda adult on the other hand anhedonic oiba haina koina anhedonic oiba haidi hanaga yamna interest yaunaga tawjaramba activities mayam ga se dull it oidana tawba mi ga se pangna interact i tawning taba adum isolate tongana adum lainingba ai thanda dum laibane nungnai da haibai type tam kha dum laijabado ko aduna haire na mi people can argue with me saying ki mi thanda leba tongan leba nungai jo mi yam leina haba adoisu adu dangi wa nataba tongan isolate tawraga leba dugi mathakta yamna changes hana gi phim dagi adagi akoi gi activity of daily living se da yamna soktharakpa yawose ko si sineba differences oirak toise children on the other hand moi the irritability yam hengalakani and adolescent what they feel is every time akoina tawri khudingi phattaba maungda khalle adult singsina ahan singsina so yamna negative automatic negative thought lakpase
adu moida hose yamna irritable oirakpa adagi akoina ahan singsina moida ngangiba moida hairiba or moina moigi tokthorpa thabak yamje adult na phataba miyengda miyengbire haibaje as a parent or guardian masi kamaina kano khangdokpa ngamgani masigi kano like what kind of angang singzina karba wahi wata ngangakpa or karba action tawbu matamda masije adu oramgani hana kamaina identify tawbu ngamni some examples
so parents na kamaina ma taw kai changes to notice tawge haibada many parents ko aina angonda pura patient angang pura lakpa kanda thingna base academic performance yam handare haibase si je amna important oibe am main oina moina lakpa se concern jo anam bana parents se si oigale ki ma se 1 to 5 ki rank panung da chalambane handakti yaudre 10 bhauki manung bau yaudre mark se am low oina phangye kana haibase like power haigana saugalakpa like power haigana saugalakpa de khitang macha ma khitang ngang ragasu yam hekta saugada pot ama natragasu khitang hengang uba kanda phet tawraga saugalakpa henba kappa khotpe helakpa adagi yamna defiant oiba sometimes children yaudaba nati ko adolescent tawgano haiba kanda ga hena tawba and then moigi parents some parents they actually catch them smoking cigarette ko smoke tawba lairam e kholi kana sigi moigi main concern di aduneba so these externalized oirakpa behavior ma'am se ada angang di because children ang hena keno suni ko si the children di verbally hamna reached as compared to adults who are developing normally aduga maga yengna bakanda di verbal output or even talking about emotions and feeling compared to raga di khatang di khenarani cognitive skill do yengna raga di angang di ai nungai te haibagi nungai te bagi reason je ahan di haiba ngamni ba point abc di c jina maram oiraga ai mood se hapta amani shumai tawre ka ha angang di du haiba ong su ngamakte dana an adolescent na kamai tawge acting out se am yaure eba moi de ana sigi main concern oina su purak pana su anamba oi acting out behavior academic the hantharakpa and sometimes they catch them trying cigarette or having a drink sigma the chahi yaudringe da siguma sigi concerns in a main oiraga dum purak pasu yam yawe parents
the doctor hoziki adolescent matam dadi hoziki sigma activity or behavior myam ma paga de kya lining da ba maru panga hen chaning ba aduga hoziki cigarettes or tobacco products try towning ba sigumba gi sidi adum normal oiba radiation adum lady laibina maze depression or anxiety laibadagi tawra ine or my normal stage ne it's
a very good question. Normal adolescent and normal developing, the adolescent, childhood to adolescent ki shift se, and adolescent to adult ki shift se. So it's a very crucial time, no? Aduna sigi shift se da suyam su tawgal leba, and like you said, cigarette try towning ba, alcohol try towning ba, imana baga thoga kholaga towning ba se. It's a very normal adolescent ki behavior neba. What differs from a normal adolescent behavior to that of a depressive adolescent or a children is that kari da kenara ke haibda moigi behavioral changes se hauziki to di try togi khot ke haibe wani dana aduna tabda moigi the stark behavior changes ama uineba and that behavior changes pervasively kharap kuina dum lai thabado ngasi aina for example if I have a kid ado aigi angang se na cigarette try to lai ramen khola aina chapeng ngang rani chairani mas haurani he or she might just answer back. That is very normal. Amawa ampana chaira kan the answer back to was a normal neba. And then next day he or she is fine. But different is on a child or an adolescent who have depressive symptoms, not just try to bagido. Maya kan bahida gama try to badangin natta bida moigi the behavior atopa behavior snappy or for no reason. They'll get irritable for no reason. Macha amma kainong kag discuss tauna se khot se haiba kan su yam thina brang saugat pa. And moi the target tawraga wangang badangi su natta bida kitang hairubada nungai tabasin helakpa noi di ai ngonda sumaina dum tawlai haibagi accusation towards the parents most of the time. And no ni the tawraga ngasi chairubai ngang hairak pa natta ba. Adu natta bida behavioral changes se pervasive manner the khara tawrak pa kan di and then like I said academic ta yam thina hairame hairaga su yamna top student magta yaudre haiga su drastic change in academic another thing is mogi self care gumba ga hantharappa koina activity of daily living and high ko see you and I also akoigi nongmagi tawgada ba ithause nongmagi tawgada ba ithause da ngaushana so I also like going out with my friends but I make sure that I gi tawgada ba ithau do loisalaga I gi thau leitaba numit amanda khatang free or benumita you make a plan accordingly ko aduna tabida akoigi tawgada ba everyday activity from the very basic thing as getting up getting ready to go to school having your breakfast studying for a student life ko and then having your play time having family time sigumba me amsi da zo interested bak hanbadu amutab hanadagi yam thina changes ama urak pase ko sigumba kanda khoina khatang su careful oiba parents na ama su yai ko khatang just look out for these initial symptoms that you see in a child along with that akoina causes la akandadi more because biological cause, psychological cause and environmental cause family member if any of the parents either parents or grandparents family anyone who has suffered prior to depressive disorder gumba suffer tawr laigiba family member adu maina tawbase genetically transmit tawba oiba pot amasu yauri genetic component amasu yauri banina ko so sigumba sijo koina check tawba ma darkar tai and then like I said ahan bada haibedo developmental yeng bakanda koigi neurodevelopmental disorder lei te haibedo koina neurodevelopmental disorder lei ba angang intellectually disabled to ba angang se koina emadi buddhi shakti khara nem banina wakanungai ta depression ka kisu tawramoi kan khana basu yam yawe ba but they also as compared to normal child moina su hena koina catch tawba ngam da bai pot tang oidori ne ba koina because moi the verbal output might not be as strong as compared to children of the similar age who are typically developing. Aduna adugumbagi macha ma'am dokuna catch ta wangam da bagi so oibagi ai ko. But neurodevelopmental issues lerapa, family history of depressive disorder, family history of suicide kumba laibase, and then on top of that psychological issues haira kanda how is the family habito, parents ka angang sigi interaction, parent ani do kamaini interact taunari, any major issues, a single parent, correct, divorce siguma mayam sisu, and then adui duna angang sida kyam effect we tau de habito, because I know a lot of single parents who are doing very well with and whose children are doing very well, right? Adu dang duna kaya mo de effect taure peer relation, and then especially adolescent age the sigi peer relation say yamna important oeba, just so as I can fit in. Aduna adum mayamna tauna basida adum changchan giba aduna su adum akoina certain behavior pamna da parents nadi pamoida behavior da all my friends are doing, I can also do it haibagi amadu adum tawhibdo, and then parents na catch taurani, and then sometimes parents because of anger and out of love I'll say moina adum ngang ba chaiba kanda khungang kuchai haibagi kehetarene mawong haibasu laidana ko, which adolescent age study it affects them. Adu higher in a parents and chaibala habanate. Of course, parents are chaidana kanana buji chairuni natra. They have every right to scold a child. They have every right to correct their children. But angang the certain angang the temperamentally katang kahitane slow to warm up or difficult or slow to warm up or angang dadi so was hen lokshan ba yam easy or give angang temperamentally yam easy or angang dadi mom panang atang chaira sunga angang kharati dum phagita thoga astoroi ka haga phagita thodum ngam gibs leba aduna tab angang asagi ina automatic negative thinking masagi leijaba angang leidana ko automatically dum moina sumaina ngonda sumaini ngai se moi nokna gidra ngonda kain khanbado. For example, stage takara wangango haibagumba elocution ama debate ama yaw kanda aina soiragadi moina engonda nokna gini kana immediately adugi negative thinking laiba angang laiko. At the same time there are children who are like, okay, I'll do it, you know, who have enough confidence to go forward and say, okay, I'll do it. Adugi dune temperament differences sida su yamna important oir ebuko. And then one of the major thing depression gi major loss, bereavement. It could be a loss of a parent, it could be loss of somebody very significant, and current situation loss of home where you feel safe and secure. It's a big loss. It's the magnitude of such a conflict that we are seeing right now.
Dr. Aduna, we'll discuss more on Hoziki Manipur gi irang azina hoziki lanjana dun lairiba angang singi matang razu khanazagi ade matang shode brem talonguna kishi attend ba commercial brem talogjage break matung da Dr. Jina Heigrujam ga hozik children mental health gi matang da khangmina kishi.
Free breast cancer screening camp from 9 to 19 October 2023. Able free OPD consultation with our specialists and 15% concession on mammogram and other investigations and 10% concession on surgery. For appointment, please contact Caesar Hospitals.
John, sort of.
Kanghodana Thabak Narapa, Yan Mangba, Kok Ngauba, Oban Sing Batorabadi, Tintadana Lamdam Sigi Maming Lerba Doctor, Anova Kolai Sing Kaya Lerba, Impal Heart Institute, Sagomban Moirang Lerki, Cardiac Emergency, the Lakpiduna, Kodak the Chanaba lying Hobiho.
Da amkahana taram nokchari Dr. Breaky mamangda Dr. na hoziki angang singda thingnaba depression gi anxiety symptom mayam je thambiri ado hozik Manipur gi situations na maram oiraga hoze angang mayam ama affected ti ore ado moi da specifically laktringai da Dr. degi hana khangjaning basi hoziki Dr. ngasai thambi khiba depression gi symptom mayam jega anxiety jiga jumana gadra natraga ani sigi top ra
khara khenai. But one thing is that anxiety, depression, it kind of goes hand in hand. Anxiety, like ramaga, kuina sangna, kuina treatment gumba tauhouda base. Adun kanda di depressive symptoms. On thara koi chances yam lai. She gets both adult and children and adolescent to the niko high ahumag age cohort ahum sida. Na kuina anxiety the high kanda anxiety so anxiety disorder is an umbrella. Aduna macha anxiety disorder the makal yam laikre. Most common kuina obsessive compulsive disorder. It comes under anxiety disorder ko. Then separation anxiety, school children 5 to 6 years ki age kumba school ka haurok pa khot pa the separation anxiety kumba tawa generalized anxiety disorder ko specific oiba phobia the particular oiba the situation particular oiba object particular kigiba kind of aduna specific oiba phobias kumba jam sim lei ko adu anxiety disorder sida main things anxiety ki se akoina avoidance ne ba anxiety se taurisi whereas in depression low mood is one of the major symptoms ko akoina core symptom as well as associated symptoms ko core symptom ngasagi core symptom depression gi sida low mood along with anhedonia and irritability adu du yoy ma'am du gi mathakta additionally decrease or increase appetite, decrease or increase sleep. The decreased sleep sina adult anamana oigali. Increased sleep kumba increased appetite sina adolescent age group. Ngasai aina ngasai do katang difference ikara delay. It's quite interesting also ki adult ki depression manifest tawrakpaga adolescent na kamaina tawge habito. And then anxiety is ngasai gi main se avoidance akoina particularly fear to bido kainoma thokadra haina. For example, separation anxiety angang amna school going child amana school chatpa yarakta bid what will happen to my mother aina school chakrima matamda kai dogani haina mamaji kai dahorani ka haibagi or babada kai toboya kai so asogapan lakadra kaina adugi kijaba aigonda asogapan lakani haibadugi kijabaga aigi laihoriba aina nungsiriba ima paduga aduda asogapan lakani haibagi kijabado aduga yengnaba kanda aina nungsirimiduda asogapan lakani haiba kijabagi sine hena hele separation anxiety it's one of the many example of all the anxiety disorders that we have ko aduna hujiki akhoi Manipur ki current situation sida children anxiety laitaba nate anxiety disorders akhoi thingnare dumko and relief camps kumba chatpa kanda Thoubal in this relief camp akhoi na chatpa kanda we have interacted with children and one-on-one interaction that the moi say open up tawbaje khara tawgande pangna so kaishu tawde group that so we make sure that group to ina tawraga then we have certain sessions like storytelling session wari leaning bra wari khangbaliyo kind of so more of like a play gi type ta one-on-one interaction and then particularly topic amagi or particularly disorder amagi matangda akoina check tawninga question hangning badu di khatang chahi chawrak pa angang da di comparatively light eba angang macha 10 years and below the because cognitive skill do compared to adult amaga adolescent amga yengna batanda moigi cognitive skill do katang different oibenina moi dadi we tend to use more of art form of interacting with them poetry gumba haining bra khot bra kaina hairaga ko adugi play drawing gumba tawraga draw anything nangna khaide pamja and then kids they draw houses and then shikanagi yum then we start off then we pick up you have to approach in a very warm manner with children anatana kaidobai nang sida kaidobai chala sida lai no you may thagra ba kaina direct hangjal already they're scared they're already very scared of what has happened they're not going to say tawde hairaga adum they might just block aduna it's better that we approach in a very warm manner towards children aduga moini yeklai be drawing do the kanano karino that's where you pick up so adult ka children ka khenarak pase adudane it takes a lot of time with children you need to have a lot of patience when you're dealing with children and adolescent because they are the vulnerable group
doctor akhina mamang tha da hoji social welfare department na moina phongdok pe matungina more than 12,000 children hoji ki Manipur violence in maram oiraga relief camp ka da displaced tawraga lei hairi aduga moi manung da yamna severe trauma na giba suffer toriba angang sing ju yaw hairi adu hoji ti magi aduna gi Manipur gi state ki site gi ko Manipur Health Service ke site gi di kari khongthang paikhali bage swai ju ka thambi
right so akoina very recently akoina gi national mental health program na tawraga ne 4 days ki workshop tawgi the Nimhanski Samvad team la eko so they are child psychiatrists mainly focusing on shumaina trauma the face tawgi ba angang singda so shida yauri say not just psychiatrists psychologists training program sida yawi ko 4 days workshop sida psychologists yawi social worker yawi and then volunteer atopa care center gumbagi akho yaucher ke kaina tawraga yaur ebako it was a very effective 4-day workshop that the state has conducted and dukanda because akhoi ju hire bane akhoina child psychiatry tawre and we are mainly dealing with the symptomatology and pathology of a disorder the treatment part of it but koina trauma focused tawrakpado trauma focused because trauma focus way of dealing with children and adolescents say yam kanna nei na pam oiraktabanina akhoi su when we were asked ko shigi matang the children the focus ta kana we didn't really know where to really start habido. Though I have done child and adolescent psychiatry, where to pick up, how to do it in group, one-on-one, the on how to do in group, what are the ways we can do in group ka haibido. And the akoigi senior gumba dagi dumainga discuss ta orga how the banete already we have started. But I think last 2-3 weeks ki mamang da koina 4 days workshop ta it pushes us more and also gave us more confidence in a way that children and adolescent deal to bakanda kamaina. What are the ways in which not just you, because one way might not work for every children.
Aduga hadaki irang siri it's a one of a kind haidi hana sunin thengadriba aduga smaina yam group ta masters my children mayam deal tawgadaba se hadaki se yamna nongnu thokpa haiba tare ko adagi doctor admaina my intervention je horakrabnina hojiki children sing moi trauma sidi ngasi hayeng hek utta tarazu after 2-3 years sum phudorok pa yai hena doctor sing na phungdo ki bazu laiki aduna hojiki di hojiki relief camp le ra ngang sing je moi condition je khadi fagatlen khanbi bra doctor gi state ke intervention ki matung da adu khatam
moi gi se khoina ai gi opinion da di moina huji relief camp da lai se the volunteers are also doing a very good job ko moina angang gi da yamna important ori se moi gi day schedule ama thambi base normal even if they're not staying at their own home, even if they're not going in the school that they used to go before school chathandana khotana tawhalliba angang sing se I can speak for Thoubal because adudi aina kaino tawbanina ko school laibang kai do angang sing do school uniform ga tawraga bag pudana khotana ko normal like how they used to do before adu minus school anak moina school chathalle adu de moigi schedule ama day gi sort out to bibato and then halaga pull up oinaga lairik tawba khotpa sigumba sisu tawriba ko akhoi gi side gi intervention we are doing as much as we can and in a way ki there are children ko adu masana yamna ke hata without any hesitation who approaches and say ki ICC nungaite khote very recently I think a few days back when I went to one of the relief camp in Thoubal there was a girl she's 12 years old angang pim chama ko she and then children the one more thing they talk a lot about the toys younger children that they have left at home they talk about the animals that they have left at home angang pim cha she was talking about 5 dogs animal lover angang ni ko mai hui manga lai hai mai hui manga loi le hobaduna adugi dugi su nungai taba so these small je akoina angang da di adult ki tong khenare hai si dane ba angang da di moi de important se shigumba macha si su yam oire eba because some children treat their dog moi gi yum da lai jabo hi se like my own best friend gi type ta khanja ba
magi sanapot magi doll or life di bi adu su yamna close on khalam doi ne ba
aduna akoina interact to ba kan da angang macha di ai gi sanapot adu le hawi ada le hawi chak thong bi sanana ba ai lai di bi no masam sumain to we sam ta khai pule kan singu me am say they talk a lot about this and we give them space to talk about this because I think it's important that they tell their story they tell what they miss about home they might not really say that I miss the particular like how parents na koi yum adu parents amana nganga paga nganga maga dikhare khena
mai singma mayam story myam je akoina catch up kan identify
tawdui ne basida and then akoi gi response is important oeba akoina as an adult as a responsible adult when a child is going through a distress when a child talks about things like this when a child is scared we should as a responsible adult we should not be fueling it more we should say that adult amo oina koina responsible adult amo oina angang do phada bina ba oina hotna bibedo angang gi mamang da su ai gi opinion da di angang gi mamang da su yamna sigi conflict ki matang da two communities sigi matang da yamna ngang ba si su ai gi opinion it's not healthy for the child in long term aduna it's better that adult talk about it because but with children they're very suggestible easily suggestible oi galidana ngang diko aduna hanna haigi bedo moida makok ta haga lei hoba khot pase sisina already they went at a very young age they are going through such trauma and then adults in the high bedo dong tahawleni it stretches and then when they reach an adulthood life adum kanda early childhood trauma can manifest in certain we're talking about depression and anxiety now, but there are so many other manifestations.
Yes, I was just many points. When angang or ngaida, when thengnagiba experiences, trauma or nuaitaba thodok mayam sida, akoigi childhood experience na akoigi adult life se shaped our habise. Aduna sida akoigi kona akoigi adult or kana akoigi relationship or gira akoigi any other akoigi behaviors is in shaped our habise. Sida izakita amka stressed out we're galuram da is that.
Yeah, akoina early childhood trauma, the unresolved trauma gumale ho base ko. Child amana trauma ama face tau grama tungda if there were no adult or there were no healthcare worker who could help the child out. Adugi matam do the mating pangbang ngam haudradi trauma adudi dum yawo chakhi doine ba. Trauma and grief is not something you can leave behind. You carry it along. But the thing is, healthy way of carrying it along with you have been important or say. Aduna unresolved trauma gumbo or akoina adulthood changak pakanda, depression, anxiety is one part of it. But there are several other behavioral symptoms that can merge out of early childhood trauma. Aduna sigi say important or akoina acting out behavior gumba tarakpako and then Nishagumadaga yam tasan giba khot ki bagi ko excessive drinking, and then some people might say antisocial behavior tawe khole. But then when you really think about, when we see the different kind of lens that we use, for example trauma lens, the focus the person might not really be somebody with an antisocial sort of a personality, but magi childhood trauma the unresolved oira baduna maram oiraga magi behavior might look like it. But when you dive deeper into it and try to know the history and the background, it's a different story altogether.
Sigi point lak pasida, like for example akoina hojikti angang ge na wari sanare du charakanda adult orakanda mai se khra issue leiba haitare adu some issues in his or her life adu mai study mai history study torakanda di mai childhood unresolved childhood trauma or issues lei hai khang pa matamda is it possible to treat that person resolve the childhood trauma when you are already adult?
Yes. Yes, of course, because moina carry over tawraga lagtorinina. It does take time. It's not going to happen in 1 or 2 sessions. The first and foremost, the person should be willing to come up and, in the sense, willing to bring about the change in his or her life. Important or ko. Aduga unresolved trauma say akoina as a professional amana deal tawrakpakanda time lagzaraga su changes minute changes adum purakpa ngamme and then overall change purakpa ngamdabra su nothing ngamme. I know of people, I have seen people who have gone through, if not this particular trauma, but have had specific trauma in their past while growing up, but have come out of it now and doing well for themselves, and not just themselves, for giving back to the society, because at the end of the day this is what the main purpose is giving back to our society that we live, right? Aduna adungam basuyam yawe. But then koina trauma gi matang wari sanabakanda important way say attachment kumbasi ko growing up matamda moina angang oiringai matamda moigi parents ka moigi attachment do kamain lai rakpa ngang se secure form of attachment lai rakpa, insecure form of attachment lai rakpa kaina temperamentally kamain tawrakpa mino ka habte. These all also contribute a lot, because you and I can have the same problem. Suppose example, you and I get displaced ovarian colony, and you are temperamentally stronger as compared to me, higher sebako, and then temperamentally khatang hena weaker oibaduna might fall deeper down, whereas those who have better attachment figure, those who are temperamentally stronger as compared to the other, adu di moidu sigumba mayam sinasu additional yamna important oibu point pudi oira eba, because 2 children who relief camp riba angang mayam say they have faced the same sort of trauma. Displacement is one of the major trauma that they have all faced, right? And but not every children who are there in the relief camp are not coping well either. Some of the children are coping well, some of the children are doing well, some of the children are helping other children in the relief camp itself to work their way into this whole world habido adu mating pang da bangang na lady ba mating yam pang bangang nungsam nungsi ko because I see young girls especially nupim cha ma'am se ko adol khatang 13 14 years se angang macha ma'am se moi sumayum do thado la ine moi sumayum de chela agalan jingnar la ine ko but moina atopa angang singi mating pang bina bo hotna ba yengchan bi ba ko that nurturing nature haiba ma yaw bodo adudi magi already magi kahata ne the core personality the yaw aba pot ne ba adugi sigum ba se these things are very important in shaping a child into what they become in their adult life even if there has been trauma in their younger life habit adu me am do so like
yam no aizer doctor ngasi di matam je punglo lo challe aduna once again thank you so much ngasi akhoi gi impact handling gi top kano episode is that children's mental health ki matang da thamira mai dam
thank you so much
ngasi gi di impact handling for a healthy Manipur program asi matang ashra lo challe mathang gi cheol da top topic ma pudina lak chege har ga me am dai kain no ya thangi jari thank you
ꯂꯩꯈꯤꯗꯕꯒꯤ ꯄꯥꯎꯖꯦꯜ ꯑꯩꯈꯣꯏ ꯈ꯭ꯋꯥꯏꯒꯤ ꯔꯛꯇ